Welcome back. In this video we're going to be looking at the gardening of astrology. I'm going to be correlating astrological signs to the types of gardens that people will have. If you're new here, welcome and consider subscribing to see more videos similar to this. In astrology, all plants fall under the dominion of the planets. The flowers, shrubs and trees suggested here are chosen for their association with the zodiacal sign that each planet rules. If you are not the gardener in your household, get the person who is Mr. or Mrs. Greenfingers, find their sign and put them to work. Discover the perfect garden for your home with the help of the ancient art of astrology. You may choose to read the dominant sign in your chart, which is usually your sun sign or your ascendant, and some consideration could be given to the condition of your sixth house, which is the house that pertains to things you do every day and to small plants. Aries. Overheard in the ram's garden. I am now going to plant the first seedlings. Only now? But you lived here for 3 years. Yes, now I'm going to start. To get things off to a quick start, invest in some help so your garden can appear overnight as if by magic. The Mars ruled are keen to have annuals as they make an instant improvement. There is always something new going on in the Aryan garden, like introducing fresh colour combinations each year. Select flowers and shrubs with red petals or bracts and plant quick growing climbers like beans and sweet peas. Enjoy hot produce from the vegetable patch for flavour in cooking, like ginger and chilies. Aryan gardeners should own super sharp secateurs for pruning, shaping and cutting back. Where trees are concerned, a flame or pepper tree will be suitable. Having dogs provides much needed action. Place a fire pit on the patio for use on cool evenings to encourage heated conversations. Suggested plant for the Aries gardener are anemone, chives, chilies, capsicum, garlic, lupins, tiger lilies, and the hawthorn tree. Taurus. Overheard in the bull's garden. Are you building your garden on clay or sand? Well, it's all earth really. Strong Taurians will probably enjoy working with the earth, actually getting down into the dirt and crumbling and tilling the soil. They can work their way through the whole garden by double digging and augmenting the earth. Adding organic matter and then top dressing with mulch are essential in the Taurian garden. Introducing earthworms will improve the soil condition beautifully. Acquiring a small used farm plough as a feature will remind the bull gardener of the land and how it is worked. If there is room, a real beehive where bees can make honey will appeal. This sign likes to have a productive garden. Taking it slowly and accumulating beautiful plants will bless you with rich abundance in a few years. Suggested plants for the Taurian garden are all root vegetables, roses, creeping jenny, and local plants. Suitable trees are silver birch and elder. Gemini. Overheard in the twins' garden. These two plants look the same. Yes, but just because they look the same doesn't mean they are. Twins may encourage butterflies to visit their garden by introducing certain plants. It is important for Geminis to bring pairs of plants into the garden so they can see them next to each other. Geminis love labelling species so locals can learn the plant names too. Third sign people like to talk to their plants. It is beneficial both to the plants who like the vibrations and to the twins who always have a lot to say. This is the person who may keep a pigeon coop. What will the neighbours think of Gemini's yard? You'll find out when you get together over the fence to discuss it. The twins will probably enjoy a corner seat for reading interesting articles about all things they could be doing in the garden, if only they didn't have to read that book first. Some ideas for Gemini's garden are caraway, hazel, orchids, and any hybrid plants. Cancer. Overheard in the lunar garden at dusk. I prefer the garden in the moonlight. Clunk. It's a new moon tonight. Rubbing their shins. Yes, I see. Well, I can't really see. Gardening by the moon is well documented. Simply put, plant during the waxing phase and harvest in the waning phase. To soothe the Cancer's soul, they could try a circular lawn in the middle of the lot with deep borders all around the edges. Choosing plant material with white flowers is a good idea because white petals are visible at dusk and attract moths. This is the classic green and white garden that appeals here. Light-coloured flowers will reflect moonlight in the evening. Cancerians will feel good walking around the curve of the lawn, enjoying the fragrance of the evening flowers under the beams of the moon. In the vegetable patch, they can try watermelons and cucumbers, which are water dense and the fruits are full and round. All lunar gardeners will enjoy feeding, seeding and watering their garden. Suggested plants for the moon-ruled garden are cucumbers, melons, pumpkins, iris, lily, lettuce, some poppies, the moonflower, lotus and white lilac. Leo. Overheard on the lion's savannah. You have created a lovely garden. Thank you, I did it all myself. What, all that digging in the soil? No, not the dirty work. I told the guy what to do. If you are going to make an entrance, then you need a wonderful arch. Place it where Leo can pause when entering the garden. Plant lots of yellow and red flowers and shrubs. As a special treat in the solar-ruled garden, create a croquet game on the lawn to play with the kids. Of course, it will only be used for a while, then the hoops and mallet can be discreetly tucked away to allow the garden to return to the serene place Leos love. A lounger for lazing on a sunny afternoon will be appreciated. To be honest, most Leos would like to have peacocks in their garden. These extravagant birds are very regal. With a well-stocked flower-cutting garden, our Leo gardener has the flair to produce a good supply of fresh flowers for the vase. All produce from the sun-ruled garden can be bestowed on friends and family as gifts. Exquisitely wrapped gifts of seeds, cuttings, flowers and vegetables will be given from the heart, as they are the fruits of Leo's creation. Suggested plants for Leo's garden are rosemary, marigolds, bay and ash trees, mistletoe, sunflowers, king proteas and any plant specimens that no one else has. Virgo. Overheard in the Virgin's modest garden. Gosh, is that a weed? I'll just check my cross-reference plant list. One moment. The garden design diagram. The detailed list. An herb garden is particularly suitable for a Virgo. These delicate plants are useful, edible and medicinal. Herbs can be neatly labelled and different varieties of, say, mint can be compared in future taste tests. Virgo will immerse themselves in the meticulous record keeping required for herb growing. Virgos will no doubt inform others of the different varieties planted in their formal beds. A traditional herb garden layout with a circle defining planting placements appeals to Virgo. This sign finds the precision of the structure soothing to the soul. They can use a record book and keep a journal of all the plants and developments in their garden. The Virgin will look back in years to come and see which plants really worked well in which area. Find a space to build a gazebo and place a table there so you can enjoy your gardening scrapbook work. Record keeping. Some specimens Virgo can try are dill, fennel, narcissus, parsley and hazel. Libra. Overheard while Libra is trimming the topiary. Just a bit off the left, snip. Oh, now a bit off the right, snip. Just a trifle off the left, snip. I knew a man once who had a brownfields garden, which is a brand new home with not a blade of grass, just soil. He wanted to prepare the ground for the lawn, which had been ordered and was to be put down the next day. Mr. Libra spent the whole day raking the soil back and forth over the garden endlessly to reach the perfect level for the purpose of laying sod. It is essential that there be no uneven areas to upset the Libra balance and prevent them from enjoying the rest of the garden. Installing a bat house at the end of the property will encourage these flying mammals. In the evening, these fascinating creatures can be seen swooping out to search for mosquitoes. It is a conversational point for Librans to test the status quo of their guests at their many soirees. A titter-totter or seesaw is a great idea for Libra's garden, and if anyone needs a hammock, it is Libra. Position it well out of range of a draft where they can gently rock. A soft wind chime can induce relaxation. They love scented plants which can be used to make potpourri, and the fragrance helps maintain their delicate equilibrium. Suggested plants for the Libra garden include roses, gooseberry, all mints, apple trees, some aloes, and any soft green plants with fragrance. Scorpio. Overheard in the Scorpion's secret hideaway garden. Silence. More silence. Of all the signs, the Scorpio gardener desires a compost heap. Maybe even 3. One for this week's, one for next month's, and one for next year's beautiful, sweet-smelling blend. This friable black recycled product can be returned to the earth to add enrichment. Scorpios are sound in the knowledge that this is part of Mother Earth's master scheme. Plan to have a secluded space, perhaps with a bench, so that Scorpio can sit quietly, enjoying their outside space without the neighbours looking in. Scorpio will often bury boxes in the garden. Well-drained soil is required. Create a pool for frogs, toads, and a few lizards to enjoy. If the body of water is large enough, they can try adding turtles too. When space permits, a bog garden that filters and recycles water from upstream is something all Scorpios will appreciate. Scorpios desire to have in their secret garden plants like basil, figs, foxglove, which is digitalis, cactus, onions, nightshade, carnivorous plants, and any plant whose botanical name includes the name graveolens. Sagittarius. Overheard on the Archer's Prairie. In Europe, gardens are going vertical. Oh yes, indeed, it's a growth area, and did you know that trees are the new black? The sky is the limit. Sagittarians will be happy with plantings of blue gladioli and hollyhocks at the back of the bed. Plant cornflowers at the front of the beds near the edge. Allow space for a path for strolling if room permits. Or maybe lay a small labyrinth using small plants such as a box hedge. This garden would do well with an ornamental bridge crossing from one area to another. Try to find an armillary sphere or astrolabe and place it on a large high column with the arrow pointing to the sky so it can be seen from every vantage point in the garden. Centaurs enjoy having a garden that can be left unattended for a few weeks at a time while they enjoy their travels. So all the plants in their garden will have to be hardy and indigenous. Trees are preferred, and plants having tall growing spires of green. Strawberry runners that can pop up all along a border will amuse the archer. Sagittarians could try growing any blue flowers or foreign species, such as borage, carnation, asparagus, sage, wheat, strawberries, maple, chestnut, rushes and bulrushes, oak trees, and all tall, leggy plants and runners. Capricorn. Overheard in the sea goat's garden. Why are you planting a pear tree? Well, the fruit will be ready for the grandchildren. You don't have any kids. Yes, but you know, pears for your heirs. Now, Saturn rule folk are quite happy to plant trees and vines that take ages to come to fruition, such as pear trees, which may take up to 25 years to bear fruit. But the attraction for Capricorn is that the produce will be available for the next generation. Slow-growing plants appeal. The Saturn-ruled appreciate a sundial tucked away in the garden so they can verify that they are in time with nature. For posterity, sea goats may bury a time capsule to benefit later generations. Establishing ivy against a fence so it can be seen during the cold winter appeals to the Capricorn gardener. Small trellises here and there will break up the space and give it definition. Perhaps they may build a stone wall to contain a raised bed. This satisfies two needs. Old folks can sit on the wall and do the weeding, and the hard structure will limit and restrict the growth of any invasive plants and rampant root systems. Container planting is a good idea for this sign, as the plant's growth can be curtailed by its pot. Suggested plants for Capricorn's garden include barley, spinach, ivy, yew hedges, poplar, elm, quince, angelica, Indian hemp, and any flowers with black petals. Aquarius. Overheard in the water bearer's garden. Plants have rights too, you know. Really? Yes, especially the triffids. In the Aquarian's garden, place a small weather vane that can be seen from the house. This will allow the water bearer to monitor wind direction in the garden. Growing a variety of tall grasses at the borders will serve two purposes. First, breezes will make their fronds sway in undulating waves, adding a pleasant rustle, and second, they will provide nest-building material for wild birds who can then weave them to use in building their homes in the nearby trees. An abundance of home-building plant material will encourage birds nearly as much as water in the garden. The Uranus-ruled will find satisfaction watching wild birds. Aquarians are likely to protect our feathered friends from predators such as the cat next door. Suggested plants for the Aquarian garden are grasses, olives, some orchids, and any unusual or unique specimens. Water bearers will appreciate the self-seeding of plants through the action of blowing wind, creating drifts of textures and colours. Pisces. Overheard in the fisher's garden. Gosh, I can't imagine where that plant came from. It looks a bit fuzzy. Yes, I could have sworn it wasn't there last year. This is the garden with the overgrown look. There is a slightly unkempt overflow of flowers, herbs and trees that make up a Piscean garden retreat. A good idea is to mount mirrors among the plantings against the walls and pillars to give the impression of more depth. Looking glasses give the illusion of other garden rooms which can open up all kinds of possibilities. They will enjoy a fish pond, not just a shallow, small one, but a deep pond for koi, where Neptune-ruled Pisces can peer into the gloom and imagine any number of dreams. Those with the sun in this last sign of the zodiac prefer flowers with single petals, such as cosmos, daisies and the purple coneflower. The simplicity of the shapes will appeal to the Piscean gardener. A good idea is to photograph the yard at the equinoxes and solstices to have an image for enjoyment. Watch out for weeds, I use this term loosely, of all kinds. These gardeners start with a vision of how they want their garden to look, but the plants just seem to get away from them. The glamour in this yard will usually come from the owner herself. Suggested plants for the fisher's garden include cosmos, purple coneflowers, spruce, opium poppy, tobacco plant. Really anything goes. Introduce some water lilies, perhaps in the koi pond. So there it is. There's a roundup of the astrologer's garden, and you take the dominant sign, perhaps from the ascendant, perhaps from the sun sign of the gardener in your family, and look at these gardens and see how they've developed into the nature of their sign. I'm Alison Price. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.